Welcome into the CHGO White Sox postgame show, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app today and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. Welcome into Studio 8 of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter at Sean_W_Anderson. Alongside me is the full CHGO White Sox crew. We got Vinnie Duber on the far left. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. You can follow him on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. And you can read his work over at allchgo.com. That's what I was trying to think of. And that, in the middle, is Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We are coming to you live. We are being produced today by Stephen Nicholas. Make sure you are subscribing to the YouTube channel, hitting that like button, because we are coming to you live after a White Sox loss.
Of course.
And, and the bad news, Herb, is that they actually, when we didn't cover the games on Saturday and Friday, they lost those games as well. So colloquially, and I guess just for baseball terms, that'd be called a sweep. Mm-hmm. So they got swept in Tampa Bay.
For the first time this year, the White Sox finally got swept. I mean, you can put a silver lining around that. They hadn't been swept until today by the best team in baseball, and still disappointing. I don't care if Tampa has the best record. The teams just look so different. You could tell that Tampa is on the trajectory of being great, and the White Sox, I don't know, after all these losses, they're just defeated. And they didn't look like a team that was, supposed to be on the same field, even though they competed the first two games versus Tampa Bay Rays team, even had leads in the first game.
Yeah, I think the first two games, the series was for having two losses. The series was probably going as good for the White Sox as it could have in having two losses. Mm-hmm. They were, like you said, competing with the best team in baseball, making some comebacks, getting some clutch hitting, which they hadn't gotten a lot of, and outside of one very, very notable performance on Friday, the bullpen was doing pretty good as well. But man, today, whole lot of nothing. 3 hits. I mean, were the White Sox, I don't know if they didn't even look like they were really playing in that game.
No.
And Zach Eflin, too. It wasn't like it was McClanahan on Saturday. I understand only 3 hits off of that dude. Zach Eflin is Zach Eflin.
But when the first stat I heard on the broadcast, and I was like, the Sox are fucked, is Zach Eflin has a walk rate of like 4. And when he was saying that, I was like, 4 walks per 9 inning? Like what? Oh, no, 4% walk rate. Of course Zach Eflin ate up the White Sox. He's a righty who doesn't walk anybody. And they started to feel out Zach Eflin a little bit in the 4th inning where, Jake
Where
Bird,
they got two hits, 2 of their 3 hits.
A lot of hard hits.
That's almost took a bridge.
Almost. Yeah. It was just the key word there. But they hit him hard. But my only point was then Zach Eflin then saw the 7, 8, 9 hitters, had an easy day, and then the bullpen came out and just ate up the White Sox lineup. But Andrew Benintendi almost went yard. Again, almost is the key word, but he almost hit 1 of 10. He hasn't, but it's his first barrel of his White Sox career.
The wind's going to be blowing out in Chicago this year, so I could think 10 home runs. If the ball is hit like that 10 more times, Sean, while wind's available, Andrew Benintendi will hit 10.
While wind's available.
Lack of wind.
And the wind's got to be a gale force out to the right field, too.
It's not halfway to St. Patrick's Day. I bought this hat, and the lady was like, "Happy Earth Day," and I was like, "Oh, yeah, perfect. This is exactly why I bought this."
It feels like Earth on this jacket right here.
Thank you very much. I just, I thought, why not, folks? Giddy up. I'm real green of envy of this Tampa Bay Rays team because are they good?
They're really good. They don't make any mistakes.
I'm not horsing around.
The defense. The defense today from the Rays was impeccable, and it was the most glaring example that I saw of why this team is so damn good. They do everything right. They don't make any mistakes. They're not going to score 10 runs every game, but they hit 2 home runs today, scored 4, and the run prevention was absolutely off the charts between the pitching and the defense. No wonder nobody's beating this team. This team is, built to play baseball the exact right way, and they do it seemingly every year.
Yeah, like Luke Raley, I think, is a perfect example. Out of Hinckley, Ohio, a 28-year-old, really don't know much about Luke Raley, but here he is hitting a home run and making a diving play out in right field where EloyJimenez is tipping his hat. Like, I mean, it's just every single person on this roster makes a key contribution to the Rays winning, whether it's even the guy who came out of and now I'm blanking on the name. The guy who threw 30 pitches out of the bullpen, Chirinos. Whether it's Chirinos, whether it's Paredes and Harold Ramirez, who I was confusing because they're both big, bulking right-handers. Like, they get contributions up and down the lineup.
And you just said it. Those are not Rays draft picks that they've developed or Rays signings. These are cast off from the Tigers with Paredes. Harold Ramirez, I believe, was on a different team, not with this Rays squad. Luke Raley was a Dodger.
Also the Tigers, yeah.
Yeah, Luke Raley was a Dodger. Like, these people are coming to this team, and they get them prepared to play the game. Isaac Paredes didn't even play the whole series, but tell me who shined on defense today. Isaac Paredes. That man looked like a Gold Glover at third base. And the White Sox were hitting the hell out of the ball to him, and he's like, all right, cool. Here's a ball I'm just going to catch and easily throw over and get you out, brother.
Well, and their huge signing this year pitched against the White Sox today, Zach Eflin. Like, I mean, cast off from the Phillies.
Yeah.
Never had an ERA, I think, under 4, 3.97 in 2020, so I'll give him the credit there. But, you know, already he's got a cool ERA of 2.81 and just doesn't walk anybody, and the Rays have found his changeup that is basically like a reverse fastball or something like that. I mean, of course, the Rays would have a guy like that.
Well, too, the compliments, and I think Jason even made it on the broadcast, like, oh, it's so amazing what they're able to do with this budget down here. But, like, the Rays are not like this cute little, like, you know, underdog thing. They are one of the best teams in baseball on a pretty much an annual basis. They have figured out the secret. They've cracked the code. They have figured out a way to do this, money or no money. You know what I mean? Like, I think everybody assumes that, oh, well, if the Rays were the Dodgers or if the Rays were the Mets, well, then, oh, my God, think how good they'd be because they'd be able to spend all this money. No, they're good because they're doing this and they're not spending any money. It is insane to see them doing that when every other team does things a different way. Almost every other team in baseball says you got to throw money at it to make it work. Often it does, right? Often that does make it work, and they've convinced fans all around baseball, too, that that's how you make it work. I know the Rays don't have a lot of fans. That's kind of the problem, and the reason that they might not be the Tampa Bay Rays for very much longer. But if you were a Rays fan, I don't think you'd be sitting there saying, why can't we sign Aaron Judge? Why can't we sign Manny Machado? Why can't we sign Carlos Correa? You're saying, all right, show me what you're going to do next. Show me what guy that I've barely ever heard of before you're going to go out and get and turn into an everyday player that's going to take this team, your favorite team, to deep into the playoffs, maybe to the World Series. It's thrilling to watch because they do it completely differently. They threw out the playbook that every single other team operates by, and they have found an incredible amount of success doing it.
Well, and Jason mentioned, too, on the broadcast, like, you know, when they try to pick their spots with contracts, like, you know, the whole narrative is they don't sign big contracts, but they've tried, and one of them was Freddie Freeman. So, like, what does that say about Freddie Freeman? Just the ball player that he is, and they almost gave him a 6-year contract. So, yeah, I mean, it is interesting to watch them work, but they're serious about baseball in Tampa, and they do such a fantastic job. 17-3 in 20 games. No, they're not even 17-3. They have a better record, 19-3.
Yeah.
So far, and they're 13-0 at home, which is just utterly ridiculous.
I kind of want to piggyback off a little bit because I was thinking about this on the way in. If you took this current White Sox team and put them on the Rays, how many wins do you think they'd have? Seriously. 100 plus?
The White Sox team is, and I'll say this again, on paper, they're more talented. These are all cast-offs or traded for people. Rosenreina from St. Louis. Ramirez apparently from Cleveland. Yandy Diaz from Cleveland. Margot from the Padres. Mm-hmm. Like, there's a lot of people that other teams didn't want, traded for whatever the Rays wanted, and again, never trade with the Rays. If they're giving you a player, that player, for the most part, was not going to be the player he was with the Rays. I mean, Blake Snell has got differing outcomes with him, but, you know, you're not going to get the guy that was in the World Series, almost a Cy Young candidate. But those guys, if they play the Rays system, the Rays will get them right. I'm telling you, something happens down there where they get player from the other team. Hey, I see what you were doing wrong. Just do this. You'll be better. And those players accept it, and they go along with it. And to speak to Vinny's point, like, Rays fans, I'm sure, are like, I don't care if you sign a big-time contract. You're competing with the Tampa Bay, the New York Yankees, the Boston Red Sox, the Toronto Blue Jays, and the Baltimore Orioles, and you're holding your own and sometimes winning that division. You're good. What you do is good. Now, the White Sox fans, we don't have that same belief in our front office. You know, if we switch with the Rays front office, I would do that right now. Give me it, please, because they do well with their trades. They do well with their player development. They do well with their drafts. I mean, I think Wander Franco is the only one that I can think of. Is like they drafted him. He was a big time prospect. He's on their team now.
Well,
I mean, of course, the pitchers
drafted him. I think he was an international signing, right?
Yeah. So you know, all the rest of the players are from other teams. They saw flaws with them and what other teams are doing with them, and they brought them into the Rays system. It's like, you should do this, and this would be much better for your career. And I don't see anybody complaining. Like, Manuel Margot was playing a lot in San Diego. He plays sparingly here with the Tampa Bay Rays. He seems like he has found his goal and where he should be doing in life, and he's excelling at it.
Well, that's what, I mean, Steven, to your question, though, like, I think that's kind of the point that I was making is if you gave them this enormously talented roster, they wouldn't be the Rays. You know what I mean? Like, the thing that the Rays do is they construct their team under a completely different formula. And I think that if, you know, it's not just a matter of switching the jerseys and giving them that coaching staff and that front office. Yeah, they do that stuff extremely well. They coach very well. They have a front office that is incredible at identifying little things. But I don't think it's a matter of just like, oh, give them all these great players and they'll win 200 games in a season. Like, I don't think it would work that way. I think it really is. They just do things completely differently. They do things their own way. And listen, would they like to have some of the talented guys on the White Sox? Sure. But they might look at those guys and say, well, the flaws that we see here are not ones that we can use to plug in to the way we do things kind of thing. And it might not work out for them. You give the Rays the most talented Rays team that they've ever had, they might not make the playoffs because they don't construct teams that way.
Yeah, to me, the Rays are like this island of misfit toys that they fix these toys and all of a sudden you want to play with them again. It's just whatever they get, they just turn into gold. It's amazing to me. That's probably the best run organization in baseball, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well,
especially with the budget they have, too.
I think people would throw the Cardinals up there as well, and they're one of their best players, Randy Arozarena. They got him from the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're stealing it from the good teams as well. We appreciate Beefloaf saying smash that like button. Sox math winner. So shout out to him today for the win.
He shouldn't be able to do it. He's an accountant.
I knew the answer. He's 73.
Yeah, him.
You just had to go.
Alex Rude. No accountants. No people with good at math should be able to do Sox math. Sorry, Beefloaf, you're out. Nope.
You couldn't do 27 plus 46.
Nope. Not right now. On my calculator, yeah.
That's all he did.
My TA.
All he did was. 83? I mean, maybe he did in his head, but
no, he's smart. No.
TI 83.
TI 83.
TA 83 is the White Sox shortstop on Sunday.
Good one.
We should make that graphic. I don't know if it'll be. Yeah, we should make that graphic. Let's go to the super chat from Husky Bardo. 7-15 in the championship window. This culture with the Sox is broken. We might need to lose 100 for something to change. Next homestand will be light. We'll see. Again, it's not shocking that the culture is broken. It felt like we've known that. We've talked about the loyalty from Jerry Reinsdorf a lot through the offseason and the end of last year. Rick Hahn, in his 10 years as GM, has made it to 2 postseasons. Like, it's not good. I do want to go to a stat that made me laugh, though, from Shane. Because, Vinny, you had 90 wins predicted for this team.
It's true.
90 and 72 for you, 86 and 76 for Herb, 83 and 79 for me. Jared Willis not having his blinders on, having them going 80 and 82.
Good job,
so we had a wide array of predictions here. We don't know. It's still early. But Shane said, is a small portion of the season still too little to draw conclusions? The Sox would need to go 83 and 57 the rest of the way to get to 90 wins. And can you guys guess, Shane also asked, how many times the White Sox in team history have gone 83 and 57 over a certain span, or a 140 span?
The 83 team?
I don't know. I was assuming it was 0.
I think the 83 team
just thought it was
really bad early, and then they just caught fire and won 99 games total, I believe. They were really bad initially, and then they caught fire. The thing is, with
So
other
bring
Sean's
back Tony?
no, with the other thing with Sean's comment,
he was the manager of the
the
83
White
team.
Sox, even though they're playing poorly, are only 5 games out. Loss of Liam has made the bullpen a mess. With Liam, it might not have been a different series because you would have had him closing out the Friday game. Not just because he's a closer, because he pushes everyone into their different spots in the team. Yes, and to wait for that seems like the only silver lining for White Sox fans. The only thing forward you can say, okay, here we are. We're in the house. Sorry, Beef Loaf. I'm just joking with you. But having Liam back does set the bullpen up correctly, and they'll be less bad than they have been before. I don't know if they're going to be top 10, top 5 bullpen, but Liam at Liam's strength, I think the White Sox are a little bit better than they are right now. But, you know, that's me grasping at straws and trying to find some positivity out there for the White Sox. The only thing that I would say positive, you're in the AL Central. No one's ran away with it yet. Minnesota, I think, won or is winning today, so they'll be 5 games out of the Central race, playing some of the worst baseball I've seen a White Sox team play in a while.
I have 2 silver linings that we'll get to, strength of schedule and the AL Central. I don't know how bright of silver linings they are, but in 1983, after 22 games, the White Sox were 10-12. So, no, not even 83. I still think it's 0. The one thing about Raylo, I am not worried about Reynaldo Lopez. I know many people are. A lot of home runs, yes. But with hard-throwing closers like this, Raylo's been in the zone too much, but also he's still gotten some good results. 76 percentile in chase rate, 88 percentile in whiff rate. We saw this with Liam, though. Guys who throw hard, guys who are in the zone, sometimes give up home runs. Do you not remember in 2021 when Liam Hendricks started his White Sox career with a 4.82 ERA, giving up 4 home runs in 9 games? I understand that Reynaldo Lopez hasn't been good. Who has been good on the White Sox? Like, you know what? It's been a tough stretch. They've played some tough teams, and the Rays are a very good ball team where they go up swinging for home runs all the time. I saw a blank name in the chat being like, oh, Luke Raley with a 188 ERA, average hit a home run off of us. He has 4 home runs. That'd be second on the White Sox. When they go up to the plate, they go swinging for home runs. I love that. That's what good teams do.
In every single one of their games, I think is a record, MLB record.
Good for them.
Yeah.
They hit the ball 112, 108, 108, 105, 105, 105, 101, 100, 99, 98, 96, 96, 94.9. Love that station. That's a lot of hard hit balls. That's why
today.
That's today.
Yeah.
That's why they win ball games, folks, because they hit the ball hard.
And Lucas was fine.
Yeah, he was fine. He was a little. I mean, the fastball control was a little bit iffy, but he was fine.
I mean, he retired the last 9 guys he faced. He gave up 4 runs. It's not great, but he gave up 2 home runs. The offense didn't do anything. The offense hit 3 hits. Ugh. It's not very good.
No, it's
and
really
2 of them
hard
in the
to
same
win.
inning.
Yeah, it's really hard to win games when you score 1 run.
Back-to-back doubles. Ugh.
And no walks.
And that was it.
So they had 3 base runners all day.
Ugh.
That's not a formula to win baseball games
That's
ever
White Sox
for any
baseball,
team.
folks.
And I get it. The Rays are good. It doesn't mean you got to be bad, though. The White Sox on Friday, that was their opportunity to seize this series and at least take one. Feel good about yourself down there in Tampa. I think that demoralizing loss where Raylo didn't get a person out and was hit really hard that game. And this is the thing, Sean. This is what I was talking about where we're talking earlier in the year, like who's going to be the closer. I was like, I would love Raylo. He has great stuff, but it's his first time doing this job. And so the pressure of doing that, even though the outs 25, 26, and 27 are not necessarily different than outs before it, it just adds on extra pressure to yourself. And being called the closer, I think that adds on extra pressure. I remember Matt Thornton, when somebody was out, I forgot who it was at the time, Matt Thornton assumed the closer role, and he was brutal doing it. It's a mental thing. It can't be his pitches. His pitches are solid. I mean, yes, pitching a low and in slider again to a lefty might be a thing after you pitch a fastball in that same location, whatever. But I don't think he's ready for prime time, and that's fine to understand that you're not there yet, and eventually you can be there. And when Liam does get back, Raylo can go back into his 6th, 7th, 8th inning guy. But we all know it's not it yet. You can't continue going down this Raylo is the closer guy when you initially said we're going to have a bullpen by committee unless somebody takes over, which Raylo has been pretty poor.
Let's take a break because I think this is a great pause to break because I think we can go deep in this Raylo discussion because there's even a thing that I thought of that could probably push this discussion a little bit further. Let's take a break, though, let you know about Fubo TV. This is how we watch the game today. They have over 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. Of course, they have NBC Sports Chicago, where you can watch your White Sox. Go to FuboTV.com/CHGO to sign up. You can stream live TV from any device, watch the most Chicago sports for the lowest price, and start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There's no contract, no cable, no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. They have over 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge, and you can watch local teams while traveling. You got the NFL draft coming up on ESPN and NFL Network, the NHL draft on ESPN. You got the NHL and NBA playoffs currently going on, and you can watch the White Sox on NBC Sports Chicago with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description below to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro, and you could go again go to FuboTV.com/CHGO to sign up for a 7-day free trial. Herb, what you drinking?
I'm drinking a 312 from our folks at Goose Island.
Can you get a goose? Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. They are our beer company. They're not our beer company. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, and they've been Chicago's beer since 1988. Their beer roster includes the lovely 312 Wheat Ale. You have the Goose IPA as well. That comes in a nice little green can, and they've designed all of their cans as well. You got the Tropical Beer Hug, which is a dry-hopped Imperial IPA, but they got 4 different flavors of that lovely Tropical Beer Hug, and they have the Full Pocket Pills, which is an every day beer, and it's what the brewers are drinking over at the Goose Island Original Brew House on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, and from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer. We also have the NFL Draft Party coming up on the 27th over at Joe's on Weed Street with our friends at Goose Island. So if you do want to hang out with CHGO Bears crew, especially with a top 10 pick for the Bears, maybe they'll trade back as well. Head over to allchgo.com and buy your tickets over there. All right, Reynaldo Lopez as closer. Was he ever anointed closer, or was it just kind of unspoken, this is our guy? He
has been used as if he was anointed closer. The way that Pedro Grifol told us in spring training things were going to go was it was going to be matchups. And listen, maybe Reynaldo Lopez was the guy at the top of the depth chart, so to speak, but it didn't mean that he was always going to throw the 9th inning. It meant he was going to go out there when the game was on the line. And granted, the White Sox look at their record. They have not had a lot of opportunities where, every single day there's a high leverage situation in the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning, right? So I get that. That being said, he's being used as if he was Liam Hendricks. He's being used to close games. He's being used as the White Sox closer. I don't think that. Again, you'd have to go through each situation to see if it's a vast departure from what Pedro said was going to be the case, but it has seemed to me that a closer by committee approach, which we all expected going into the season, has been a closer by Reynaldo Lopez approach. The results have not been great. It doesn't mean that Reynaldo is bad, but the results have not been great. Here's what I want to know. Where's Kendall Graveman? I understand he pitched the last 2 days, and that's fine. But this is a guy who's experienced. He's a guy who you gave a very large contract to be a very high leverage reliever for this team. Mm-hmm. And he's a guy whose numbers are pretty damn good. So why is it that between the Houston series and the series this weekend against the Rays, he pitched like 4 times? Like, he has not pitched very much this year. I don't understand why you've got a guy who, Herb, as you pointed out, in Reynaldo Lopez, was the guy who is stepping into this for the first time. You got a guy who's done this job before and done it well. Let Kendall Graveman pitch in these high leverage situations. I'm not saying it's going to go dramatically differently. It might not, because guess what? None of these guys are Liam Hendricks.
Correct.
But Reynaldo Lopez is faltering, and I understand that they have confidence in him to be a very good pitcher for them for the remainder of the entire season, whatever role they put him in. You don't want to wreck the guy's confidence. But Kendall Graveman is there. You use him. Use him to be this guy. You got him to basically be, all right, we got Liam Hendricks. We're going to go get another closer and make him our setup guy, and we're going to have this great back end of the bullpen. you should be using him as such, especially when Liam Hendricks is not available to you.
I agree. Real quick, Connor with a super chat here. Of course, he would have this stat. 2010 started 18-13, finished 88-74 with the Thriller Bridge.
Excellent. Gotta love a Thriller Bridge reference.
But the Graveman point, I think it just goes to the first point of Raylo was anointed closer. Like Pedro Grifol, I think in spring training talked about how much he liked Reynaldo Lopez's stuff, and it seemed
as
like
he should. Reynaldo was excellent last year,
right?
Yeah,
and it seemed like he hinted at like, oh, he's going to be our guy, but again, never fully anointed. He's the White Sox closer. Again, it's always been by committee. But to the Graveman point, it's because Pedro Grifol uses Kendall Graveman when they're winning, and they don't win games. 3-2 win in Houston. He blew the lead in Houston the next game.
That was his one bad game of this season. Yeah, right.
But when they were winning, he came in. Mm-hmm. April 2nd, they won. April 8th, they won. April 10th, they won. April 15th, they won. April 18th, they won. They were winning, or close game on the 21st, and the game on the 22nd went into extras. So tie games. So unless it's tied or they're winning, he's going to go in the game. And if it's not, it's Gregory Santos who leads the team in innings pitched. Jake Diekman, who's up there. Jose Ruiz wasn't up there. But who's leads? Oh, Jimmy Lambert. Jimmy Lambert's kind of like a tied guy as well. So, and we've seen Raylo come into the ninth inning before they push it and have the Mickey Mouse second baseman. So it's just because the White Sox are winning. I think that's why we're not seeing Graveman, which is a mistake. I think the bullpen in general since that Phillies series. Or since before that. Who'd they play before that? Last weekend. Baltimore?
They played the Orioles. And the bullpen was horrible in that series against the Orioles. Since that, the last 6 games, bullpen's been pretty good.
Yeah.
They have given up runs. There's been runs scored against the bullpen, obviously, but the bullpen's been pretty good. Sean, you and I were looking at the numbers beforehand. Keenan Middleton and Gregory Santos have been excellent.
Yes.
And Jimmy Lambert's been good. Kendall Graveman's been good. This bullpen is not in the horror show zone it looked like it might have been just a week ago.
Yeah.
And Bummer's been up and down, but I mean he was good on the 8-7 game.
Right. And so again, it is one of the problems that this team is facing, and this team is facing a lot of them. But to say that Pedro Grifol doesn't have options, like a week ago, I think there was a storyline, who can he turn to, right? And I think that was a valid question. Right now, we just rattled off about 4 or 5 guys that he could turn to. It's just that you have that very high-profile blow-up from Reynaldo the other day, and now it's what is the situation at closer, which is arguably and probably the most important position in that bullpen.
Well, and let's ask you this. I do want to clear some stuff up, though. Blank Name said something. Sean was convincing us that the Giants had a good lineup recently, whatever. Maybe the Giants stink. Yeah. But now I'm trying to convince you that hitting below under 200 is what you want on a team. No. But Luke Raley, even though he's hitting 188, has 4 home runs. Jake Berger has been one of the most, on the players with the Sox, with the most key contributions. Why? He hits home runs. He creates runs. It is good to create runs. And
especially when the hits aren't coming in bunches like they were early in the season for this White Sox team.
Right.
And 3 hits today, you can single your way to a bunch of runs.
Yeah.
But when the singles dry up too, then the only thing you're getting is home. I mean, you saw what the Rays did today. The Rays didn't have a lot of hits today. But they hit 2 home runs off of Lucas Giolito, and that put the game basically out of reach.
Right, and and the reason why the scoreline looks a little bit worse was because Lucas hit a guy to put a guy on base to make it a 2-run homer. So I mean, just that mistake added the deficit a little bit worse. But this could have been easily a 3-1 ball game if Lucas. I mean, maybe he gives up a solo home run to that guy, but whatever. If he doesn't hit him, that was also weird too. Just now he's hit 4 hit batters already.
Yeah, matches last year. He made 30 starts last year. Hit 4 guys. This year, in his 5th start this year, he hit his 4th batter of the season.
And it seemed like he did clean it up. I mean, retired 9 straight. Yeah. But what I wanted to go to is Tony earlier said, is Sean going to try to convince us that Reynaldo Lopez should still be the closer? After you have an outing like that, and I'm not going to convince you that Reynaldo Lopez has been good this year. He's had 11 outings, and 5 of them he's given up an earned run. That's not good. I can do that math.
Correct.
But is he still the closer? I mean, next time the White Sox have a lead, or going into the 9th inning, let's
tomorrow
say
versus Chris Bassett.
Tomorrow versus Chris Bassett.
Yes.
We got to have KPW on. Is it Reynaldo Lopez coming out, or is it Kendall Graveman coming out to close out the game for the White Sox?
I think it should have been Kendall Graveman initially because of the reasons Vinny said. He's done it before, and if he does fail, it's just because his pitches weren't good enough or something like that. You're rattling off Ronaldo's stat line, and he and his pitches are great. But I'm telling you, that position is just a different animal for mental reasons, not for actual physical reasons.
But then if it's that big of a hurdle mentally,
it is for some reason.
But does it not take more than 11 outings to get settled in? Like, I don't know. It's been a month. If we're saying it's early, can it not be early for Reynaldo Lopez?
Understood. No, but you can't continue to throw him out there for your teammates, for his teammates. They're like, he's not getting the job done. And once we fail, usually during the game, we're subject to getting benched. We're subject to getting derision from the manager. He's failed, 3-4 times in big spots, and that was a big spot. He didn't get anybody out on Friday. If you give up 2 runs in that inning and it's just, bloop, 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 cool. People were rocketing off of him that day. And so, yeah, if I see Ronaldo Lopez in the position to close out another game, I'm going to be skeptical of Pedro Grifol. I'm like, hey, man, you see the problem right there. The man has told you that he can't do it with his pitching. And maybe putting into a different position, he's Ronaldo Lopez from last year, where he only gave up 1 home run. I'm telling you, the position is something different because he's given up 4 already this year? And rockets, too.
Pedro has yet to show or yet to even hint that he is planning any sort of changes at this point in the season for anybody who might be struggling. And we have not seen any moves made from him to go toward that, be it pitching, be it hitting. There's a lot of folks complaining about what Luis Robert Jr. has been doing at the top of the lineup. We have not seen him moved out of one of those spots. And every time he's asked about a struggling hitter or pitcher, it's my faith is that they will turn it around, and my faith is, and I'm going to keep throwing them out there. He had a quote when we were asking him about all these bullpen struggles fairly recently, and it was, I'm going to keep sending these guys out there. It's what I can do because I know they're good and they're going to be able to turn it around. Now, you can laugh at that faith all you want. He is not wrong in saying that there is time to do that he should give them more time. Herb, you bring up that the White Sox have often made a habit of saying, give it 2 months before you know what you have, kind of thing. And I think that patience, there is a world in which that patience can be rewarded. Mm-hmm. That being said, that seems to be what Pedro is going for right now, in that it is too early for him to smack the button on really any of this. And so to answer your question, Sean, I think that if you see a White Sox save situation come up in the next few days, it's going to be Reynaldo Lopez, because he has not said anything that would indicate that he is ready to pull any levers to make these big changes.
Right. And my issue, again, is the White Sox hitting. Like, it's great that, on Friday they had the opportunity to win that game and Reynaldo blew it, right? They scored 7 runs and had 10 hits. But following that with 5 and 3 and, like we said, not a lot of base runners today, that's the issue with this team. So, and maybe me saying that they'd be fine without TA is proven not to be true. But to harp on your point, like, Pedro Grifol in spring training is not going to say Luis Robertson MVP caliber and he's leading the team in home runs and we're going to not put him in the top 3. Like, Luis Robert is swinging and missing at stuff. That's what Luis Robert does. Like, I don't know. They need to fix that as a team, but you're not going to go out and give that player that type of contract, say he's an MVP type player, he's our, star, and just drop him down in the lineup. Who else is hitting? I mean, Eloy started hitting.
Burger, but he, know where he's going to be in when Yohan's coming back, so he can't be a solid guy. And I wouldn't hit him second either. I would hit him more like a third, fourth. But I'm not dropping Luis out of the 2 or 3, but I'm also wondering, like, finally the Tampa Bay Rays have done something that I always wondered about. Why do they throw him strikes? He'll swing at balls all day long. Like, don't throw him strikes. The single he had in the first inning, that was a strike. Stop throwing him strikes. And that's an easy situation to plan against if you're opposing teams. I hope the Toronto Blue Jays are dumb too and keep on throwing him strikes, because when he gets thrown strikes, he crushes the ball. Don't throw him strikes. It's an easy solve for any other team, because he was swinging at balls that were literally in Tampa St. Pete, like on the other side of the ocean. I was like, what the is going on, Luis? Like, he looked lost on Saturday. Same thing with Eloy. He looked lost on, Saturday? And then home run immediately. Home run. Like, he crushed the ball on Friday and Saturday after looking just off of it. That's how quickly it can happen.
Smoked a double today.
Where people like, okay, that guy at the plate looks just terrible. And Andrew Benintendi this weekend looked terrible. Today, double. Maybe it takes drips and drabs, but I don't know if the White Sox can afford drips and drabs when you're 7-15 to start the season. As we always say, you can't win it. You can definitely lose it. If you bury yourself enough, I don't know if this team is good enough to come back and grab Minnesota if they're 10 games up.
I'm not like going crazy over that Benintendi thing just because I think in that bat he saw 7 fastballs from Eflin. That's the third time seeing him. Like, you're getting paid $75 million. I'd hope you'd finally rock Zach Eflin at some point.
Yeah, but the 75
it's
is
good to
irrelevant in that thing.
But like, that's the type. Like, he is a well thought of ball player. Like, going seeing a pitcher for a third time, we've seen that has good results for hitters. It's good to see that came through. I don't know.
I'm just saying, like, you can break out. Like,
hopefully,
it's the basketball analogy of seeing a shot go through and then like, okay, I can make baskets from here on out. My confidence is just that much better. Same thing. Seeing ball go far for Eloy allowed him to hit ball far on Saturday and allowed him to hit that double today. I just think sometimes you just need to have some success to convince yourself, yes, I'm still good at this game. Hey, I can do the job. And it's been too few and far between. As Vinny said, 3 hits today. No one's feeling great after that. No offensive player's like, yeah, I'm out here doing things. No one's Carlos Lee in the fucking clubhouse like, man, 3 for 4, y'all. I did my job. What the rest of y'all do? No one's doing that today.
You're saying they're doing that to Raylo, though, because damn, thanks. But Jake, I did see he made the trip down to Tampa, and he said he's taking credit for Eloy's nice streak here. Took a picture with Eloy before the game on Friday, and he immediately started hitting home runs. Some people are asking if I'm the team's good luck charm. They did get swept, so maybe you're just Eloy's good luck charm.
Jake, come up here and take a picture of me and my wallet. And see if that fixes
increases.
it.
Yeah. I think we did miss the super chats too, by the way, because Steven's going to town on his beef, and thankfully, Beef gave us the super chat. So, which White Sox position player most needs a day off tomorrow? Let's take a quick break, and then let's answer the question. Let's answer the question. Yasmani Grandal, probably not, because he got the day off today, which you thought was a little odd. But I guess he's Seby's Lucas's catcher, so we think that Yasmani will be in the lineup tomorrow, so Yasmani Grandal off the board.
Yeah, I would think it would be Luis Robert for me. Not necessarily because he's struggling, but yesterday's game wasn't great. But Bassett, he's given up 5 home runs this year, 4 of them to left-handers. So you put Oscar Colas in center field, you put Gavin Sheets in right field. It's a pretty standard right field out there in Toronto. No nooks and crannies to mess up Gavin Sheets. So he's been hitting the ball pretty hard and with authority. I'm like, what was that pitch? That Pete Fairbanks? Who was it? They went up there 100 miles per hour. He's like, all right, cool.
Oh yeah, no, the highest the highest pitch in Statcast history for a home run.
Yeah, he went up there and got it. It's like he almost knew it was up there. He's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna go up there and crush it.
Nose.
I think. And he needs more plate appearances. He got to start today. He didn't start on Friday and Saturday, and none early in the week. So I think Gavin Sheets needs to be on the field, especially versus Chris Bassett tomorrow. And you give Luis Robert a much-needed blow, and he can just relax and rest and not worry about people doing sweepers and sliders over past him.
Jason Adams gave up the homer. It was not Fairbanks.
Okay, Jason Adam.
Jason Adam, not Adams. That was very Chicago of me to
Jason
add
Adam,
an S.
Him part of the 2 first names. Can't trust him.
Well, did you see the Logan Allen thing?
No.
I want to give, I think it was Anthony Castrovince of MLB.com, and he had the stats. 4.4% of American baby boys are named Logan. 0.16% of Americans have the last name Allen. 0.5% of American high school baseball players go pro. 0.17% of pro players make the majors. 3.3% of MLB teams are in Cleveland. Yet somehow we ended up with 2 Logan Allens pitching for Cleveland. So 2 first names, Logan and Allen.
You can't trust him, says Herb Lawrence.
Yeah, right, just like you.
Mm-hmm. Want to let you know about our fantastic...
And Sean.
Oh, yeah, Anderson
you'll remember
Severino.
Anderson Severino. Hey. That made you a man with 2 first names.
Yeah, that is true. What's he doing?
Stephen Nicholas, man with 2 first names.
I wouldn't trust me.
I'm the only trustworthy person on this set right now.
I mean,
that's true, and that's why you're a journalist. Want to let you know about our friends over at FOCO. you can trust them as well. You can get fitted in the best sports gear around with our friends over at FOCO. Not only is the TA bobblehead from FOCO, but the Southpaw one, Vinny's wedding guest, is from FOCO as well.
And he's in the desert, you'll notice, too.
For spring training.
Yeah.
Just like you were. So
Correct. I didn't see Southpaw at spring training. I didn't know Southpaw goes to spring training.
Well, it's funny. I have a question.
Yeah.
Southpaw, I guess you didn't see Southpaw at spring training, but like, where's Southpaw seen the most?
Guaranteed rate.
Guaranteed rate field.
Where do you work?
Here.
Okay, I guess guaranteed rate though.
Sure.
You know? I mean, they're not playing it. You know, there's no Sox game going on.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
when the Sox play, you're at guaranteed rate.
That
field.
is true. Yes.
Southpaw wasn't at your wedding.
Correct.
Why would he be? Why would you can't? Are you Southpaw?
This was this long way to get to that. Okay. I mean, to be fair, you currently are the fuzzy green dude.
That's
so
true.
you kind of look the most like Southpaw right now.
You're tall enough, though. FOCO, though, they have hoodies, shoes, signs, bobbleheads, and everything in between. Bobbleheads, of course. They have the lovely set decorations that they donated to us, and we are absolutely thrilled with them. So go show them some love. And since it is baseball season, they have Aloha shirts, straw hats, polo bags, everything you need for a game. So go to FOCO.com or click the link in the description below for all non-presale items. Use the promo code CHGO for 10% off. Also want to let you know about our friends at Shady Rays. It is a dark, dark day, and you wouldn't need it if you're playing at the Tropicana because there is no sun.
There's sun there,
Tropicana.
It's over the roof.
Well, but you can take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventure, and that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us that they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked, so you can wear your Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. And if you don't love your shades, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. So exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to ShadyRays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself these shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. We do have a super chat from Matthew. He says, "Don't throw it up, but we're gonna throw it up. Give him a goose honk too, Steven. Why not? Make this real special." He's always been hanging out with us in the chat. Thank you for the super chat. And he said, "Just figured out how to do a super chat. No need to throw it up. Appreciate the content. We appreciate you, Matt.
Thank you, Matthew." Anderson Severino, not signed by anybody. Last time he pitched was in the Dominican Winter League, where he struck out 11 and walked 11.
Let's go. That's consistency. Let's go to the silver linings that I have about this team. Because, again, I think Raylo will probably be the closer. I don't think that they're going to take him out. We have the Andrew Benintendi quote on why he's going to be batting third, and that's a house secret. Like, everything's a house secret with Pedro Grifol. Nothing is getting out. So I don't think that Raylo's going to get bumped. I think the consistency of these are our guys, we're throwing out our guys, we're going to back our guys, I think we're going to see that.
That's a silver lining?
All throughout the 2023. I guess
I'm waiting for it.
Let's go to the silver linings, though. Well, first silver lining is the AL Central is bad,
Yes.
which is good for the White Sox, not good for our eyes because that just means more bad baseball for us. But the Minnesota Twins are 11-10. That should change because I think they are beating up on Patrick Corbin, so they should improve to 12-10, the overachievers of the division. The Guardians are 10-11, Detroit 7-12. Sox have fallen to 7-15, and the Kansas City Royals are 5-16. Sox are 4.5 games back of first place and a run differential of -31. Not good.
Nope.
But the AL Central also not good.
Correct.
I know we did this whole bit last year,
Yes.
but I mean, there's no real threat. So silver lining number one, it's early and the AL Central stinks.
I think that is the thing that makes White Sox fans go crazy. Like, if you're in a different division, this will just already be over. And I get it. They're doing the same thing they did last year. So if you feel at home that this is over, cool. I hear you on that. But it's right there. A good series next week. You play the Toronto Blue Jays and you win, and the Minnesota Twins play some other team that's tough. You can be within 2 games of these guys by the end of the week. You can, if they win all the games, which is hard to believe because they haven't won 2 games in a row, much less all the games in 1 week.
Seven. That's so 7.
See, that's why the math. See, me and math not together. it's going to be hard to believe that they can do it. But this is the thing of the AL Central. It's going to keep us in this sumbitch forever. And so we're going to be following this team until September when there's still 5 games out. It's like, man, we got a chance. We got a weekend. We could do this, and we played the Twins. And we're going to ration. We're going to bargain with ourselves like, hey, if we do this, then that, and the other, we're right here. And that's the thing. Like, the White Sox are a bad team. The Minnesota Twins are a slightly better team than the White Sox, but they're not good. And the same thing, the Cleveland Guardians. So it's going to be that same thing that's I'm talking about the whole season. I don't think this White Sox team is going to play up to the potential that we all think they are. They're just going to be bad, and eventually they'll win a couple games. They'll look better than they have recently because they're going to get some Liam and hopefully Garrett Crochet back soon.
Garrett Crochet's going to fix all the problems.
I mean, it's a better thing. So you don't have to go to Tanner Banks or you don't have to go to Jake Diekman. Those are better options than what we're dealing with now. So I think this is going to be a season-long thing. If you're ready for it, prepare yourself, prepare your heart, prepare your body for this thing because it's going to be all season long.
Prepare your body.
Oh my God, yeah, but your body's going to go through some things, man.
Wow. Well, here I'm gonna do this. So normally through the first little bit of this season, I have spent it saying, well, this can happen. They can, get better. It's early. I'm gonna flip it around because guess what else can happen? I'm not sure we thought about this possibility coming into this season. Mm-hmm. So you guys have just both said, oh, we did this all last year. Everybody says, oh, this is last year all over again. Well, last year they finished 500.
They did.
They're 8 games under 500 right now.
It's going to be hard.
So, like,
Zips hadn't projected at 75 wins.
My typical, hey, you know what could happen? They could figure this out and it could get better. The flip side of that coin is, hey, what could happen? How bad is it if they're just real bad?
I would love that.
Like, how bad is it? Like, everybody thought last year, the underachieving of last year, the failing to meet expectations was just the worst thing that could possibly have happened. They finished 500. What if they don't finish very close to 500 this year?
I think that's better. I'm go on record to say I like a fast no than a slow yes. That tells me already they're bad. If they're bad and they're just one of the worst teams in baseball, that's some definitive things where this window is closed. We don't have to hear Rick or Kenny or Jerry or anybody tell us we're on the precipice or we can only do this, that, and the other and we'll be fine. No, if you're just really bad, that's actually better than just being mediocre because you can fool yourself into thinking we get this, that, we're going to be good. No, if you're just 76 and whatever it was, 86, people are like, yeah, you're just a bad team. And this is the second year in a row. We need to move on from you doing the decision-making. We need to move on from you doing this decision-making because there is some finality. If this team goes the 86 and 76 that I predicted and doesn't win the division, people would say, hey, we had this go wrong, we had that go wrong. If we have all those things not go wrong, we're going to be good. They could talk themselves into a brighter future. 76 and 86 says, you're done. It's over. And we need massive change on this team.
Absolutely. I think you see changes in the front office if they're 10 games below 500 or whatever. You can't spend above average payroll and spend over $180 million and have a below average team. I mean, that should be, results in, or I mean, what consequences? I mean, like there should be consequences. Like if Reynaldo Lopez gives up 4 home runs in 11 outings, he loses his job, I guess. If Rick Hahn goes to the playoffs 2 times in 11 seasons, and as Adam Hoke said, they're 6.5 years into a rebuild and have a worse record than the Tigers, then yeah, I mean, like this is the current AL wildcard standings. They're just above Oakland and Kansas City. That's bad. If they're bad and they spend money like a good team does, then people should be fired. And I think that also means Lance Lynn's probably gone and Lucas Giolito's probably gone and cutting salary and not having those players return. I mean, it seems like, to just cut bait because player option or club option for Lance, and then Lucas is just going to hit free agency. So just seems like those are easy. See you later. I mean, I don't know what else happens because Luis Robert's still on this team. Eloy's still on this team. Tim's still on this team. Maybe they trade Tim.
Yeah. Seems like it's an important 140 games then.
Yeah. Well, do they get the full 140? Or does it, I mean, if they're 10 games below 500 at the trade deadline, I mean, do you pack up shop?
No. The team, no. I would say.
You wouldn't trade Lucas Giolito or Lynn if they have value?
I would, but would they? I don't think they will because.
This is what you put everything into.
Well, yeah, I'm going to say, if Rick says, hey, we're done, and he trades everybody off, that's a reflection on him. And you can't do another rebuild under Rick Hahn. That's just my thought about it. And I don't know if Jerry feels the same or Kenny feels the same about that, but you can't do another one. He's got to push it all in. I would go the opposite way if I was him and try to do as much as I can to win the division this year. And I know I said the 60-game thing is usually the thing that they want to judge themselves by. It might have to be earlier because, panic starts setting in. It's like, hey, this might be my last year here. I need to push and get the best things for this team while I still can.
They're in such a weird spot, though, because the manager's not going to be in that spot. He shouldn't start panicking. It's his first year, right? I mean, like, he's just been given, hey, we're bringing you in for the new future. So,
well, and that's why, obviously fans are going to react the way fans do, and that's entirely reasonable for them, right? But I think you can point to Pedro Grifol saying, not smacking any buttons yet, and say, okay, that's an expected way to act. You're waiting to see what you got. You're riding this out. You do believe in this team. You want to see what's going on. You start pulling too many levers, and you could make things worse. So I don't blame him for acting for not acting that way. It's good to have a more level head when you're a manager than the opposite, certainly.
Correct.
I think the only thing is this team is playing poorly.
Mm-hmm.
And listen, I think getting Moncada and Anderson back will make a significant difference. But what are they going to do? They're going to come in and all of a sudden now they're going to win 2 out of every 3 games. Like they haven't won a series yet.
That's true.
They're 22 games into the season, they haven't won a series.
That's a segue. Perfect segue for Silver Lining number 2. The White Sox have faced hard teams. I'm not saying that this is gonna make for sure it's certain they're turning it around and they're winning over 80 games. But hardest team MLB schedule so far via team rankings: Arizona, Detroit, Kansas City, Milwaukee, Miami, Oakland, and the White Sox there at 7. For example, the Tampa Bay Rays, who have faced the Tigers, the White Sox, the A's, right? They have the quote-unquote easiest schedule so far in all of Major League Baseball, and they're 18-3 or 19-3. Milwaukee doesn't give a shit. They're the 4th out of the schedule, and they're 15-6. So again, that doesn't matter strength of schedule, but maybe that is a thing. Maybe the White Sox are just playing good teams.
This is. I'm not loving the silver lining, to be honest.
That's fair.
No, because I mean seriously, I when you show me that, and Herb, you said this before the game too. You said, listen, you said, well, look at the standings. The Rays are good, sure, but they've played easy teams. The Astros, whatever, their record's not that great. You said the best team the White Sox have played so far is the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Yes,
because their record is great and they've played a harder schedule. Whatever. Well, no, that's not true. Obviously, the Astros and the Rays are going to be better than the Pirates at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. And so this is a very good example of that small sample size. That is an argument in favor of it's early because you look up and down that schedule and up and down that list. Steven, if you want to put that graphic back up and down that list, some of those records are good, some of them are bad, some of them are mediocre.
Some of them are good teams, some of them are bad teams. Oakland's going to be 4-17
right.
regardless of who
the
they
A's
play.
are terrible. The A's are going to be 4-17 regardless of who they're playing. The Diamondbacks, do you think the Diamondbacks are going to finish over 500 this year?
Maybe.
No.
I mean,
They got good pitching and they got young players. They might.
And Toronto's good. San Diego's going to be better than 500. The White Sox, who knows? The Marlins might not be a over 500 team. Milwaukee's off to a fast start, but are they going to they might finish 3rd in that division? I mean, this is small sample size stuff all over the place.
The White Sox haven't played any of those teams, and they'll play every one of those teams except for number 7 this year. Got a schedule.
You won't see yourself in the mirror, which is funny.
So they get to play Oakland,
which is
for their 6 games. So yeah, I don't put in too much stock in that because I don't think the teams the White Sox have played are actually hard. Like I've seen the Baltimore Orioles, I thought before this series were the best team the White Sox played because of top to bottom pitching and offense. But that Tampa thing, that's a thing.
They've played 4 potential playoff teams.
Yeah,
they played the reigning World Series champions as well. So I mean that team's pretty tough.
They
and
are.
I feel like you're
really
disrespecting the Astros.
I never felt the Astros during that series. I thought the White Sox dominated that series.
What?
I said it during the Houston Astros series. They controlled the action for the most part and then lost in 2 of those games. But I thought the White Sox were just as good as the Houston Astros in that series, if not better. Otherwise, yeah, they haven't been playing well the whole year, and I feel like
I think they played okay Friday and Saturday. Got to be honest with you.
Friday, I know they
Friday
were
more so.
leading.
Yeah, well, Kopech
and they
wasn't
gave
that
up a bunch
good
of
either,
runs. And they hit some home runs. But yeah, I think they played better on Friday and Saturday than they played today.
Oh yeah,
but
they didn't do anything.
That
today.
team is superior, far superior to the White Sox and most teams. They've only lost 3 games. What is it in Toronto, where we're going right now? Another team that was probably on that list is going to probably give the White Sox more troubles. And then on the weekend, guess who we play again? These same some bitches at home.
4 times instead of 3.
Oh, my God. And we don't play well at home either.
And they're getting their 4 best starters. They're getting McClanahan, Eflin, Taj Bradley, who's a new stud, and Drew Rasmussen. So have fun.
Like,
Shane McClanahan coming in and throwing 32 swing and misses. What the hell?
if you're not a baseball fan, like, you're just a casual guy. I've heard of McClanahan before. I've heard of Zach Eflin before, but these other guys, who are they? And, of course, they're going to
Taj Bradley is brand new to baseball this year.
Put up zeros versus the White Sox, and the other guy's going to put up zeros. That's what the whole roster is. Harold Ramirez, come on now. We've seen Harold Ramirez play for the Guardians and I think the Miami Marlins. He's no great shakes, and he comes here, and he's hitting the ball hard. That home run he hit off of Dylan Cease on Friday, mercy. Just absolutely tanked that ball. Like, they have a bunch of people who are just no-names, and they just get them to play well for a collective effort at a 19-3 start.
Ramirez just hit his 5th home run this year, his career high, 11 back in 2019, and in 2021, 7 and 6.
Yeah.
So he is approaching his career high already in
22 games.
17 games?
Yeah. Matthew's right, though, right now, because here's the thing. The saying that, they want to play the best teams, because guess what? They want to be the best team. You want to be the best team, you got to beat the best team. It doesn't matter right now who they're playing. They haven't won a series.
No.
They haven't won a single series. No. It's not like they're going to get over this hump and then they're going to be fine the rest of the way. Like, you've got to play better against all teams.
Yes.
You can't beat the Rays until you beat the Twins. You can't beat the Twins until you beat the Royals. I understand they haven't played the Royals yet, but when is this stretch coming where it's like, oh, now everything's going to be just fine for this team?
Reds.
It's Cincinnati and Kansas City in May 5th to the 11th.
I'm going to see all those games.
And then they play the bad Houston Astros, according to Herb.
Not bad.
The horrid Houston Astros, according to Herb.
Didn't say that.
And here's the thing, then. Here's the thing. What are they going to do against the Reds and the Royals? Can you tell me right now that, finally, once they play the Reds and the Royals, they're going to start blasting the ball? Like, no.
6 games, they probably win 3.
Weren't they last year? Weren't they better against teams above 500? I think they played better against good, quote unquote, good teams. So Pedro said the give a shit meter wasn't there. So maybe they'll give a shit against the Reds and Royals and just absolutely destroy them.
They just need to start playing better. Period.
They also might just lose.
Go out on the town tonight in Toronto, have a great time, see Drake. Say what's up to him, drink all the Molson Golden you can, and let's go out and be loose tomorrow.
Nice Canadian references.
Yeah.
Listen to some Tragically Hip.
They're going to go meet Drake? I thought they were going to – you don't think they're going to go hang out with noted Blue Jays fan Geddy Lee?
No.
Which players on the White Sox roster would hang out with Geddy Lee?
Which players on the White Sox roster have heard of Geddy Lee?
Lance Lynn.
Just, I don't know if that's true.
He's from Indiana. He's probably heard
of Rush.
Some Rush.
Yeah. Oh, he's heard of Rush.
Oh, the specific Geddy Lee?
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to seek him out.
Lenine Sosa
is seek him out.
He's like, I can't go and see Neil Peart. I got to go and see you, Geddy. I got to take the consolation prize. I don't know why Lance talks like that.
Yeah, why is Lance Canadian?
Why is he talking on the phone?
I don't know.
Like 85.
Because he's calling Rush.
Hey, Geddy, what are you doing? Hey.
Why does he become Canadian when he goes to Canada?
He's just a chameleon.
We're gonna have a Canadian on Connor, and maybe he knows Geddy Lee. So there we go.
Get him right, Connor. Go out with him.
Right.
Find the team hotel and go into the lobby and buy him a couple drinks.
Final question I have for you guys. The White Sox didn't have a home run. We'll have a bit for when they do hit a home run. The White Sox need a home run celebration.
They do.
We have something. I think I found something. So there's a little
you and me, by the way, are on the same wavelength with this.
Yeah.
Because I've been beating this drum for a while.
I feel like we mentioned it last year.
Yeah.
And I think we got a good idea because I think literally every other team has a celebration, and we'll
None are cooler than the Mariners.
Yeah, the Trident's pretty sick.
You're not topping the Trident. It's amazing.
But the Pirates have a sword.
That's also cool. But the Trident, they had to find that at the bottom of the sea. They had to wrest it away from Poseidon.
That's tough.
It's so plastic.
He's the god of the seas.
It's a plastic.
It's plastic.
Do they do the
Poseidon?
Poseidon built it out of cast off from the Great Pacific Garbage Patch.
All the microplastics.
Yeah, right.
It's Poseidon. He's a god.
What do you think Poseidon's doing with those microplastics? As Steven showers the iMac in water.
Don't look at Poseidon's lungs. There's so many microplastics in there. Final thing. Oh yeah, how do the White Sox fix this? That was the question. We were going to ask that question, but we'll keep it brief. How do the White Sox fix the White Sox
in like 30 seconds?
60 seconds or less.
Have fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Celebrate some homers.
F the wins. You don't just have fun. You're out there to play baseball. It's not serious for you guys. We're going to be doing this show no matter what. Just have fun. Like, you see Eloy finally looked like a weight of 1,000 years off his shoulders when he finally hit that home run, and he started like smiling, laughing, having an joyous time. This team was the envy of baseball because they had fun in 2020 and 2021. They had a great time, and everybody's like, yes, that young, energetic, fun team, home run chains, everything was what everybody wanted to be about. And now it just seems like they're just, baseball is this, that, and the other, and it feels like the weight of 1,000 years is on the rest of the players' shoulders because us. And then Tim spoke about it. Like, we need the media on our side. We need our fans on our side. We need other people to lift us up, to elevate us. Sometimes the saying is you got to fake it till you make it. So whatever you need to do, whatever is what's in the legal limits, you need to do to have fun, enjoy baseball again, because that produced good results for the team. And so I don't know what they need to do. I mean, I remember going to Toronto or hearing about Toronto trips, and I saw Ozzie Guillen Jr. in here earlier, but Ozzie Sr. used to have these, they called slump busters, but he had a plastic blow-up doll just to get them out of their slump, just to, pass it around the clubhouse. It was a little insensitive at the time, probably too at the same time, but if you're not hurting anybody, just have some fun. Enjoy something. Go out to tuck a buck tonight in Toronto. I'm sure they'll love it up there in Canada. The exchange rate's good, so you'll be giving them a little bit more money than they were used to.
What is tuck a buck?
It's go to a strip joint.
Okay. Steven, can you zoom in real quick? You bring up Tim Anderson. Let's ask Tim, how many wins do the White Sox have? 7, 15.
Tim's got him, Sean.
Tim sounds terrible.
You got him.
Doesn't sound like he's from Alabama. Sounds like my Alabama or my Canadian accent.
Yeah, really.
Lance Lynn.
We did get some good news about Tim Anderson today, though. He's
that?
nearing a minor league rehab assignment.
Oh, there you go. I think they mentioned Yohan is close to that as well.
Maybe.
So, hey, we'll figure it out.
Get him back for the Tampa Bay series next weekend?
Is that when he would be first eligible?
I mean, they're both eligible to come off with Yohan last Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tim's probably right around the corner.
But, yeah, Yohan was retroactive, so he had a couple more days ahead of him.
Yeah, Grifol said, quote, it shouldn't be too long on Tim Anderson. So
cool. Hey, positive news there.
Need it. I mean, we know he would get hits.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's the straw that stirs the drink. Anyways, that's going to do it for the CHGO White Sox postgame show. That's Vinnie Duber. You can follow him on Twitter, @Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. His latest piece is talking about how moving Jake Berger to second base won't fix the White Sox, so we'll cross that off the list. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him.
Truth out there.
Hey, it's right.
You want to see more errors?
I don't want to see more Romy swings and misses, so, I mean, Romy might be sent down. Jake Berger might need to bust out that second base glove. That's Herb Lawrence. Maybe Yawn. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter, @ActonWall23. Maybe Andrew Vaughn?
No, you're getting worse. You keep on getting worse with your suggestions.
That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter, @ActonWall23. And I'm Sean Anderson. You can follow me on Twitter, @Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to Stephen Nicholas for producing the show, and we will talk to you all tomorrow. Go Sox.